Okay. I want CD, which is right there. Which means I need two pieces of information. Those two pieces of information are only available in this blue triangle. In that blue triangle, do you have a theta? What is it? 32. Do you have anything else? You have an hypotenuse of 16. What do you need? You need the opposite. So it is, of course, 16 sine 32. Please notice I'm skipping that middle step because by now, since you have done 20,000 trig questions, you should be able to say, I have the hypotenuse, so it must be multiplied. If you're not able to say that, or you need a little more practice, then write it out. Sine 32 equals O, the unknown, over 16. Number on the bottom, 16 sine 32. And the answer, 8.5. Some of you will have 8.48. Some of you will have 8.483, whatever. I don't care. I don't want to argue about rounding anymore. If you have something close to that and you have written that, you obviously have the right answer. Are we clear? Good. That is out of 1 mark because you only had to do one piece of trig. Number 2, how will you calculate the distance of CB, which is this line right here? You can do that in many ways. If you hadn't done number 1, you would have done 16 cos 32, and that would get you 1 mark. If you'd done number 1, you could have used tan. 8.5 divided by tan 32 would get you the right answer. You also could have done 16 squared minus 8.48 squared and square rooted it. The point of the question was to tell me the expression. Show me your work for 1 mark. Any questions? All 3 of those will work. The only thing that you couldn't have used was sine, because it's an adjacent side to the 32. Unless, of course, actually you could have used sine because you knew that this was 58, so you could have even done 16 sine 58. You had 4 options. Who makes the choice? You do. Is any one of them better or worse than any other? No. Although I would argue that anything that used this is not the best way to do it because both of those answers have been rounded off, haven't they? Right? Excellent. What is the height of AC? AC is right there. If AC is there, it is part of this triangle, yes? You already know this to be 8.48. If that's 45, what's that? 45. If those two angles are the same, what do you know about those two sides? They're the same, so that is 8.48. So AC is the same as CD for 1 mark. Yeah? Yeah. And the distance from A to D, which was right here, you could have done sine, you could have done cos, you could have done Pythagoras. It did not matter, but your answer was something around 12. I think it was like 11.99. Great. Pages out of 4. Everybody give a total out of 4 at the bottom so you don't have to flip through 4 pages and going 1, 2, 3. You only will then have to add up 4 numbers. Okay, the airplane question. Zach. Okay, all right. To find distances with trig, you need triangles, yes? This plane exists up in the sky, but you do not know where it is up in the sky. If the plane was on the ground, you would know that it was 37 kilometers north and 81 kilometers east. And the plane would be that distance from the airport, yes? How would you find that distance? You can't do trig. You could do trig once you found this angle by doing shift tan, but you would do Pythagoras. Gervir, you were going to say Pythagoras. And this, you would know, is the square root of 81 squared plus 37 squared, which equals 89.05, blah, 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 yes? But the plane is not sitting on the ground 89.05 kilometers away from you, is it? The plane is 6 kilometers in the sky at that point, yes? What is the angle between the ground and straight up into the sky? 90, which means you had this triangle. 89.05 to get to right underneath the plane, and then 6 to get up to the plane. Which line, green or blue, is the distance from the plane to the airport? Blue. How will you find it? Pythagoras again, and you will find that it is 89.25. That has to be out of 2. Now, I am listening to people say, I got 88. Is that a hypotenuse? Is it allowed to be shorter than anything else? No. So if you had that, you would be checking your work, yes? Because you need to know that the hypotenuse is the longest side. I'm going to change that to green so you can see the answer. Is everybody Gouda? Now, what is the angle along the ground? Red triangle or blue triangle for angle on the ground? Red triangle, because this one is 6K up in the sky. I need this angle, right? North is that way, east is that way, yes? So I must need the angle that is east of north. Well, if that's north, and then I shifted to the east, I must need this angle, yes? Which is this angle, yes? Shift tan, idiot. Shift tan of... No, not 6. It's on the ground, Ariana. 81 over 37, which gives you 65, yes? Now, that gets you 1 mark. The second part of the question says to write it properly. How did you write it properly? The way I showed you on page 56. When I stopped everybody and said, do you understand this? And everybody said they did. Started north, adjusted west. So we are reviewing. I started north. I adjusted 65 degrees in the eastern direction. That gets you your other mark. Any questions? Okay. Now, angle of elevation. Red triangle or blue triangle? Blue triangle, because it is going up in the sky. Where is the angle of elevation? X or Y? X, because it's the one that is going up. Can I use tan? Yes. Can I use sine? Yes. Can I use cos? Yes. Does it matter what you use? No, because they will all give you the same angle, which, if I am not mistaken, is 4. On your calculator, it was 3.85, but of course we round that to...
Those equations, they were just in the wrong spot.
So give yourself full marks. And then figure it out for next time.
But this one is supposed to be in this one.
Yes, I know that, Ariana. Next question. The height of the tree. That is the red triangle.
Is this out of 2, the one little question?
Which one?
B and C, are they out of 2?
C is out of 2. C is out of 1.
Okay.
Did I not say that? C is out of 1. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. So this is 52 tan 32, which I don't remember what the answer is. It's like 30 something.
32.
Don't care. This is what's important. Right? Somewhere on your page, I need to see that. And
Or the other way, like where you write 10, 32, and then have the fraction.
no, you can't have a fraction here. It has to be multiplied.
Yes.
Oh, you mean write it out this way.
Yeah.
Tan 32 equals x over 52.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, because that would lead to that. All right, yeah, okay. Everybody good? All right.
1 out of 1?
1 out of 1. It's only one question. It's only one bit of trig. 2. Total distance from the bottom of the canyon to the top of the tree. Well, that's this blue triangle,
10.
which is 52 tan 67 plus this. Now, should you do plus 32, or would you be better to do 52 tan 32 again? That is better, because this has been rounded. Do I really care? No. And the answer is something like 122.
I got 45, but that's because I didn't do the 50.
Oh, you got to add them. Sorry, I forgot to do the adding. It's 155, because this is 122 and this is 32. That page is out of 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Everybody good? Okay. 2 trees are 100 meters apart. There is tree X, there is tree Y. 50, 50. 8, 13. I don't care if your drawing is different than mine. I want you to answer this question for me. Without doing any work, which tree is taller?
13.
Why? Because it's got more degrees of up. Excellent. Now, I want to know the difference in height. So since the y for me is the taller one, I need y minus x, don't I? Right?
Oh.
For me, the way I drew it. Y minus x. Y is 50 tan 13 minus x, 50 tan 8. And the answer is 4.5-ish.
Why? I thought you just needed to know how much.
How much taller is one tree than the other? So you have to find the difference in height.
Oh, I just got how tall each of them were and then just left it there because I didn't know what to subtract.
Okay.
Then how many marks did that be?
I
I have
would-
the height of each tree.
Then I'd give you 1.5 out of 2.
Because I didn't really indicate, I just put down.
I would give you 1.5 out of 2 because the question clearly says I want the height, the difference in heights. Okay. Now, the map.
Easiest thing ever. I liked this.
Okay. Now, some of you will have not read the instructions and just jumped into doing the question. And those are the people that all had to ask me and said, Mr. Myers, I don't remember how to read that. Even though we got a whole page on it. I know. But some of you did not read the whole thing. The question says the sailboat leaves Roberts Point, right there, right?
Yep.
And we know that Roberts Point is exactly
North of Fernie.
1,750 meters from Fernie Island, yeah? Now, dude sailed away from Roberts Point. Dude could have sailed in any of these directions, yes?
Coal Island.
But he went to Coal Island, which is only in one direction, right there. Then he sailed to Fernie, then he came home. Where is the only place that can possibly be 16 degrees?
Where Robert...
In there. Because north is 0. If you didn't bother to learn how to do it when I spent a period explaining it to you, then you should have been able to figure it out from this. Now, you will say, again, no use in real life. You're supposed to do this every single time you get into a boat. I'll never get in a boat. What if you get in a boat? How far did you travel? Well, you know that you have a theta of what?
16.
And you know you have
Adjacent.
an adjacent of 1,750. What do you need?
A hypotenuse.
You need an hypotenuse,
Yeah.
which I'm going to call x,
And it's cos...
and you need an opposite, which I'm going to call y. And to answer this question, you must do 1,750 plus x plus y, correct? Okay, so how will I find x?
You do cos.
You will do cos. Cos of 16 equals adjacent 1,750 over x.
And that's
So
1,000.
1,750 divided by cos 16 equals x. So that value will go there, right? And you also know sine, not sine, you idiot. Oh yeah, I am doing hypotenuse
Well, no,
now.
because-
No, I am doing opposite.
Pythagoras now.
You could do Pythagoras. You could do Pythagoras. I am choosing not to because this is a trig unit, so I am wanting as much trig practice as possible. You could do tan of 16 equals opposite y over adjacent, 1750. So 1750 tan 16 will equal y, and that number could go there. Now, Ariana jumped in front of me, cut me off in the intellectual highway here. What could I have done other than tan there? I could have done Pythagoras. And I would get the same answer, which is something around 4,072.
I got 3,620.
So that means you did something wrong.
I did Pythagoras. Because with the cos question, with the cos part, I got 1,820. And then what I did is 1,820 squared minus 1,750 squared.
Then square root the answer.
And then square root that and got 50. And so my x was 50. No. So I guess...
1 second. 1820. Square root squared minus 1750 squared. It's 501. It's not 50. This is 501.
4900 is the answer. Did you get that?
It's not that. 18.
These two, it's not that?
No.
Okay. So what did I...
All right. Remember, this is going to be out of 3. To do this question successfully, you needed a triangle. Whether you drew it properly or not, yes, 249,900.
Yeah, that's
Now
not
square root that. 501.
But the decimals...
Now, again, you needed a triangle. No matter whether you drew it or not, you needed one to do this. So I am giving you 1 for figuring out your sides. You get 1 for your work, and you get 1 for a sensible answer to make it out of 3. You decide how much of that you should get out of 3. Okay then. Is everybody good? Now, ladies and gentlemen, may I erase this so I can keep the map on the screen? Because the next question needs the map as well. It's been recorded. You can check it for studying porpoises tomorrow. Who wouldn't want to study porpoises? They're very interesting. A dolphin. No, it's a kind of dolphin. Or it's similar to a dolphin. All right. Curtis Point is 800 meters north of Armstrong Point. The sailboat left Armstrong Point at a bearing of 307. I don't know how to read those, Mr. Myers, but you keep reading and you see that he went to Kingfisher Point and then back to Curtis Point. That made a triangle, yeah? No, over to Curtis and back to Armstrong. Obviously, none of those angles are 307, are they? But all the way around to there would be 360. But I did not go all the way around and go straight north. I stopped at 307. So what then is left over to complete that circle? No. See, now, I did this on purpose. That's why I chose this. Because a bunch of people in the other class went to 270, because that's straight west, and added 37. Which is right if I had sailed over here and then up. But I need this triangle in here. So I had to do 360 minus 307. This is 53. 53.
I just used 307
Right?
as if it was
Just wait.
380.
Everybody cool? Does everybody see what happened? Okay. So now I have theta of 53. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention. Because if you used 307, you will actually have the right answer, kinda, but only accidentally. I'll explain in a moment. Your adjacent is 800. Your opposite is x. Your hypotenuse is y. And then it's the exact same thing, yes? It's 800 plus 800 divided by cos 53 plus 800 times tan 53. And the answer is something like 3,000 and something.
3,190?
3,190. Now, I'm going to explain something. It's out of 3. Now listen. I'm going to show you a little thing from grade 11. Just to show you why, if you didn't understand it and you used 307, you got the right answer. There's all the way around a circle, yes? In trig, we start counting here. And we go that way. Everybody cool? Not like in directions. In math, we start there and we go that way, okay? So 307 would be all the way around to here, correct? Is everybody with me? Okay. Now, this side, there's no 90 degrees, is there?
No.
But this side, there is, right? All the way to there is 307, so that's 53, correct? Everybody agree? The tan of this 53 is that O over that A. Agreed? Everybody understand? But this O on this construction is negative, isn't it? That's a negative Y value, yes? And a positive X value, right? So the tangent of 307 would be negative opposite over adjacent. Whereas the tangent of 53, which would be right here, right, would be positive X and positive Y. Everybody understand? So even though if you use just tan 307, you will get the exact same decimal as tan 53, but it will be negative. So when you do all the multiplying and dividing, it will give you negative answers. Everybody get it? I showed you this just a little bit right here where we talked about this negative tan value, 309, remember?
I didn't get a negative.
Oh yeah, because in 307 it won't be negative. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another part of grade 11 trig. In that spot, cosines are still positive. So yeah, you would have been okay. And where was I? So, if you had done cosine here, you get a positive. But if you do tan here, you will get a negative. So when you did this part, 800 times tan 307, you would have gotten a negative value there. Okay? All right, so that is also out of 3, making that page out of 8. Yes. So I would give you 1.5.
That's out of 3?
Yes, Tavi. Well, I drew all that for a long time and asked if everyone was okay. You recognize, Tavi, that the triangle had to go like that, yes? And you recognize he had to start going that way, yes? And you remember that north has to be 0. Right? Because that's how we start counting our directions. And we count this way. Right? So I'm facing north. She's Curtis Point. But I want to sail over to Kingfisher. So I turn all the way around till I'm at 307. That's this part. And then I sailed off to Kingfisher. Then I sailed back to Curtis. Then I sailed home. Yes? That made a triangle. This 307 is not inside that triangle, is it? I need angles inside the triangle. So if I went all the way around to back to north, facing Ariana north, turn all the way around back to north, how far did I go? 360. But I didn't go all the way around. I stopped at 307, 53 degrees away. Austin. Of course, Austin. Number 9. I had this triangle, and I had this triangle. The final answer is up here, little r, correct? So to find little r, I need 2 pieces of information. I have a theta for little r, it's 43, right? But I don't have anything else until I do work in the orange triangle. The orange triangle, theta is 69 degrees, adjacent is 30, and I need the opposite. Do I need the hypotenuse at all? No. If you don't need it, why would you use it?
So that's 10.
That is little s, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
So tan 69, no, it would be little because it's a side.
Oh, okay.
Tan of 69 degrees equals little s over 30.
That's
30 tan 69 equals little s. Now, in the brown triangle, that means my adjacent is 30 tan 69, isn't it? If I don't do this here, then there's no chance I'm going to round something wrong or screw it up, right? So I'm going to bring that up here because I know that's my adjacent. My opposite is little r. Tan 43 equals opposite r over adjacent, which I know is 30 tan 69. That is on the bottom, correct? So it moves to the front, and r equals 30 tan 69 degrees times tan 43. And the answer is something like 70, I think. I can't remember. 73? Great. 72.7 would be 73 because the question says nearest meter. Out of 2 because you didn't have to draw your own triangle. Gouda? Okay. Now, one of the kids in the other class made my favorite drawing ever for this question. He actually drew a tower of microwaves, like microwave ovens. He drew this and drew a bunch of microwaves, which I thought was pretty funny.
Why?
Because I said a microwave tower. I know, a microwave tower, it's just any tower. They call it a microwave. All the communications towers are microwave towers. They're not that. That cooks with microwaves. So, there's your tower. There are 2 wires. There is one wire to the ground, and there is another wire partway up to the same point. The orange wire is what? 37 or 58?
37.
37. The purple wire is 58. Which one will tell me how tall the tower is? 58. So, 9.8. Tan 58 equals opposite. Tall for tower over 9.8. 9.8 tan 58. Whatever the answer is. I don't know. It's like 15.82 or something. Great. 15.7. The orange tower. Now, I want to know this distance. So isn't that the height of the tower, 15.7, minus the orange height? Of course it is. So, how should I do it to get the best answer possible? Should I use 15.7 or should I use 9.8 tan 58? 9.8 tan 58, all in brackets, minus, what's the orange one? 9.8 tan 37. I'm glad some people are finally seeing those patterns. If this one is 9.8 times tan 58, and I did it once, obviously this one has to be 9.8 tan 37. You don't need to write it all out again. And you get an answer of, I don't remember what it is. 8.3. That should really be out of 3 because you had to draw your own triangle. So give yourself a mark out of 3. And number 11. A lot of people I noticed when I was walking around drew the triangles for number 11 badly. A lot of people did, which means that's almost right. A lot of people drew this. Right? A lot of people drew that. Okay? Except that's not what a suspension bridge looks like. A suspension bridge looks like the Golden Ears Bridge, the Port Mann Bridge, the Alex Fraser Bridge, the Pitt River Bridge, the Lionsgate Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge. There are 2 towers that suspend the bridge. One of those towers has an angle of 10.8. The other one is 18.65. The height is 135. So when you find X and Y, what do? Add them. And then what do you do for the length of the bridge? Multiply by 2. Now, listen to me carefully. Is knowing what a suspension bridge is part of trig? No. So, in good faith, should I deduct marks from you for not knowing what a suspension bridge is? I shouldn't. But should school not be preparing you for real life? In real life, if somebody asks you to figure something out, what must you do? figure it out. Did I put this question on a test? No. Did I give you 24 hours to figure out what a suspension bridge looks like? Yes. Right? I would not put this question on a test without explaining what a suspension bridge looks like because I'm testing for trig. I have no qualms about putting it on an assignment that I gave you time to do outside of class. Yes? All right. Use your brains and decide how much you feel you should give yourself when we go over this. All right? Of course, to solve this, I need opposite over adjacent. Yes? So my adjacent is unknown. So it is 135 divided by tan 10.8 plus, what's this side? 135 divided by tan 18.65. And then that is all multiplied by 2 to get an answer of 2,215 blah.
So I just added them but got
Now stop a moment. Everybody's talking.
I did the same equation, but didn't times them by 2 at the end.
So you decide.
2 out of
Do you feel your trig was good enough to guarantee give yourself 3 marks for it?
2 out of 3.
Remember, the bulk of your marks, listen please, the bulk of those 3 marks should come from what? From the trig, right? So the bulk of those marks should come from the trig. So if you've done some trig right, you should get the bulk of the marks. There's only 3 choices. No, I lie. 6 choices. 0.5, 1, 1.52, 2.53. Decide. This is part of what is supposed to be coming down the pipe for you people. Self-assessment. Assess your understanding of trig. 2, because I gave you the triangle. Yeah. So that page is out of 8. 8 and 8 is 16, and 7 is 23, and 4 is 27. Give yourself a mark out of 27. Tomorrow, when I give you your test, you will write 2 things on it. One thing is your name. The other is whatever fraction you're about to write right now. Write meow. Okay?
So is that 7? What's this whole page out of
8. 2, 3, and 3. And we have 20 more minutes of class for which we are going to use them to review something from the 9th grade that you think you know, but second to surface area, this is the worst thing done in grade 10, even though you think you know it. So please turn to page 78.
Powers.
Powers show repeated multiplication. So what does this mean?
7 times 7 times 7.
7 times 7 times 7.
Multiplied by 7.
And the answer is 343. Now, in the 9th grade, all of you should have dealt with numbers and exponents. Some of you will have dealt with letters and exponents. Some of you won't have. So for some of you, this is going to be a little bit tedious review. For some of you, some of the stuff's going to be new. The next thing I want to talk about is this. This is called expanded or repeated multiplication form. This is called evaluated form. You use your calculator to do this. How? You push 7, and then you push your exponent button. Different on everybody's calculator. Some of you have this little mountain thing. That's called a caret. Not spelt the same way as Bugs Bunny, but some of you have that. Some of you have this, y with a little x. Some of you have x with a little y. Some of you have x with a blank. Some of you have blank with a blank. The button that you will never push is EXP, because that is not what you think it is. You don't need to know what it is, so I'm not going to fill your brain with it.
0 times 10.
Okay. Not e and an x. Do you see an e and an x there? That is a different number altogether. E to the x is 2.27, blah, 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 blah. It's an irrational number like pi. You will not use it. And then, of course, you will push 3, and then you will push equals. Everybody remembers how to evaluate exponents, yes? Okay, good. Now, let's do some review. The yellow thing, the 7, is a base. I will never call it anything but its name, base. I will never call it the big number. I will never call it this guy over here. I will never give it a little name. It is the base. The definition of base has 2 parts. One part is what it actually is in math. Can anybody use their words to explain to me what that 7 is? It's the base, but what does that mean? Joseph. Excellent. Certainly. It is I don't want to say number because it might not be a number. The value that is repeatedly multiplied. Right? 7, it's the base, and it was 7 times 7 times 7. Yeah? Everyone is good? Excellent. What then would it be if it was a to the 3? It would be a times a times a. Agreed?
Yeah.
Good. Now, the exponent is blue. The exponent is what?
3.
In math.
Well, the number that repeats the base? Or
It's the number of multiplications. Yes? Does everybody agree with those 2 mathematical definitions? That makes sense to everyone, yes? Okay, now in red I'm going to write 2 other parts of these definitions that are very important. They are geographical. What? Geographical meaning where the stuff lives on the page. The base is any value immediately left of an exponent. And the exponent is the superscript, which is the number, the value, because again, it might not be a number, the value written up and right of a base. Is everybody cool? 2 parts to the definition. Now I'm going to do something weird here that might confuzzle some of you. You might have seen it before in grade 9, but you might not have. So work with me. You already know 7 cubed would be 7 times 7 times 7. So what then 4 cubed is what? 4 times 4 times 4. Is everybody good there? Okay. What is the base in the black line? A. What is the base in the blue line? Excellent. All right. Now, in the green line, 4a cubed. What's the base?
4a.
Okay. Read the definitions.
The value that is a.
Immediately left of an exponent. What is the base? A. So what is the only thing that repeats? 4a. So this is 4a. Good? All right. The orange line, 4a cubed. Now what's the base? 4a. So what repeats? 4a. 4a times 4a times 4a. Everybody good? The light blue line, negative a squared. What's the base? A. So what repeats? A. So that is negative a times a. Yeah. The pink line. No, just stop for a moment. The pink line. Now what's the base? Negative a. So what repeats? The negative as well. Negative a times negative a. Will the light blue line be positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. Will the pink line be positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Wait, I'm still not done. Light green. Negative a cubed. What's that? Negative a times a times a. Will the answer be positive or negative? Negative. And finally, running out of colors, the purple line. Negative a cubed. Negative a times negative a times negative a. What will the answer be? Negative. Is everybody good? Good. A power is the whole thing. A power is a base and an exponent. And we read it as base to the base to the power. So this is 7 to the third. Okay? If it was a 4, it would be 7 to the 4th. If it was a 9, it would be 7 to the 9th. Okay? Some have special names. What is 7 to the 2? What do we call it?
7 squared.
Squared. What do we call 7 to the 3? Cubed. Nobody else gets a special name because there's only 3 dimensions that we deal with. Everybody cool? All right. Your homework. And when is this homework due? No. Tomorrow you have a test on trig.
So
Monday. Your homework is this page and this page only. Okay? Be ready for your trig test tomorrow. Now listen to me. Your trig test is a 45 to 50 minute long test. I am giving you 65 minutes. Normally I would give you the whole 80. But you are still getting 15 more minutes than you really need. So, get in here ready to go. With your calculator, with your pencil, with your eraser, with your scrap paper, because you are down 15 minutes of time. It won't matter because you usually waste the first 15 minutes of class coming in, sitting down, getting out your piece of paper and everything, and you usually only get 65 minutes to write a test. So get in here, ready to go tomorrow. You people are just before lunch. The tests will be on your desk when you arrive. Sit down, work. The announcements will come on. Work through them. You don't listen to them anyway. Because when you're not writing a test, you talk through them all and you don't hear a word of it. Tomorrow, you actually will hear the announcements. But you will be ignoring them because you're doing a test instead. Dan. 1,327 squared minus 927 cubed, square root all that. Because it doesn't matter. Okay? Okay. How many questions were on the test? The same question everybody asks every time. If there was 1, you would do it. If there was 10, you would do it. If there was 1,000, you would do it. You're doing a test tomorrow. What difference does it make? There's more than 10 and less than 50. There you go.